first time last night. James Harden, John Wall, Boogie Cousins, and Eric Gordon all in action. They look pretty good. Harden finished with a game-high 33, all while the Rockets continue to weigh whether or not to deal their superstar as the NBA season swings into the new year. And with that, we welcome in Chris Broussard. Broussard, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for getting up and spending the morning with us. Let's start with you. Has James Harden proven how valuable he is to the Rockets, or should Houston still trade him?
Well, Happy New Year to everybody. Look, his value was never in question. I mean, we all know how phenomenal he is. He's an all-time great, and the Rockets are a better team with him. Whether or not they should trade him depends on two things. One, what is his trade value? What are teams offering? I'm not budging if I'm the Rockets on what I demand. A great young player, draft picks, and some other stuff. So don't lower your asking price.
Again, ran out of cardboard. All right, let's get all Nick Wright-ish right now and talk some betting. Fox Bet Sportsbook has all the latest odds, including who will finally win the NFC East. Current leader Washington, the favorite to take it home at -125. By the way, Washington 10-5 when Alex Smith is under center. But Alex Smith is still questionable for Sunday with that calf, so it opens everything up. Cowboys next at +220. And the Giants at +350. In other words, it's still up for grabs. Brandon, which NFC East team could do the most damage come playoff time?
Oh, that's easy. That's Washington. And what did you say, Jenna? The last 15 games, Alex been leading the Washington football team. They're 10-5. Is it 10-5?
Yes.
Yeah. I think in that same span, they won like 6 games, lost 26 or something like that. Yeah, that's an easy answer. When you have a veteran quarterback who's not only just a veteran but also can play and understands the game, it makes everybody's job easier on defense, special team, offensive line, wide receivers. So Alex Smith has to do everything in his power, Nick, to get out there to lead his team to victory. They control their own destiny. And the reason why this team is scary is because of Alex Smith, if he's under center, and that defense. Come on, man. I don't see too many offenses that can go out there and do whatever they want against Washington. This is an elite defense led by that front seven, Nick.
So listen, I agree 1,000%. I think I said after Thanksgiving that if we get Tampa-Washington in the 4-5 matchup, Washington will win that game. And it looks like we're going to get Tampa-Washington in the 4-5 matchup, and I'm going to stick with that months-long prediction, despite the fact that I have a brutal case of PASD. And that's post-Alex Smith disorder because he played quarterback for my team, and I watched him in the playoffs.
Ooh.
And you're going to say, Nick, Alex has 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in his playoff career. And I'm going to say that's true. What's also true is, in his most recent playoff appearances, what has happened is his team built a 28-point lead on the Colts, only to lose it. The Chiefs played a game against the Steelers, where Alex Smith was the quarterback, where the Chiefs scored 2 touchdowns, the Steelers scored 0, and the Chiefs lost. And then, in his most recent playoff experience, there was a 21-3 lead at halftime against Marcus Mariota. And the Chiefs lost that football game 22-21.
Oof.
And so Alex has had a tortured playoff history. What I wonder, Wilds, is if it was almost, I don't know what the word would be, but cleansing, maybe that's the wrong word. But if the fact that he almost lost his career makes any of the playoffs ghost of Christmas past go away. If at this point everything feels like found money.
Clean slate.
If he feels like, you know what?
Clean slate.
A clean slate. Thank you, Brandon. That's the exact word I was looking for. Thank you. Because it's never been that he personally has melted down in the postseason. It's just been he's been part of teams, most notably the Chiefs, that melted down while he was the quarterback. But I wonder if, because he thought his career was gone, this opportunity, if those things go away entirely. Because I do think Washington's front seven is good enough to really strike fear in any opposition, including the Bucs, Wilds.
So good.
Okay, here's the thing about the Bucs. There's one team there that has already struck fear into the Bucs, And you know who they are, Brandon? Joe Judge's Giants. That game, they just barely lost. It came down to the last play. And we're like, yeah, well, the score was close, but was the game close? The game was crazy close. So for me, Brandon, it reminds me of like when you win a basketball game that you really shouldn't have won, and the other guys are like, hey, run it back. And you're like, oh, no, if we run this back, we're definitely going to lose. That's what's going to happen with Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. Now, Joe Judge had a weird thing. Daniel Jones' hamstring was hurt. He's like, yeah, I'm going to play from the pocket a little more. And Joe Judge was like, oh, he shouldn't have told anybody that. He gave him a little bit too much info. Joe Judge, everybody knows the guy's got a hamstring injury. He's not going to run. You played him, you got a hamstring injury. He's not giving any state secrets away here.
Yeah.
But Nick, one last thing for you. When we talk about, I thought you are, Take Integrity, Jenna, as you know, is the foundation on which this whole show is built upon. The whole Fox Sports enterprise, to be honest with you, with Nick.
The whole world.
That's right.
Dallas still's got a chance here, buddy. Your preseason pick still has a chance.
Buddy.
And the fact that you're letting them go, like, I feel like you should hang out with Dallas. I feel like we're crumbling the foundation of our whole show.
Remind everyone, Nick. Remind everyone who you had
what you said. You said this whole show, this whole network is built upon Take Integrity. I could argue our entire society is built upon the nuclear family. Yet, you are allowed to put children up for adoption. And that's what I did with the Cowboys. I had them. They were a wonderful child. And I said, you know what? You're gone. You're not working with the unit.
Am I supposed to be laughing at that, Jenna?
And I don't know. I'm not sure. I just went with it. Here's why.
Awkward.
And let me say something about the Cowboys. The Cowboys who have scored, they're averaging in their last 3 games around 35 points per game. And the Cowboys who are favored to beat the Giants, and I believe will beat the Giants. The reason that I can so easily just dispatch of my preseason Super Bowl pick is if the Cowboys win this division and they play the Bucs, Tom Brady will have his best playoff game since the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Right? And I know they lost that game. He threw for 1,000 yards. What Brady would be able to do against this Cowboys defense in round 1 it would look like how he looked against the Lions.
Some positive news. First, star quarterback Denzel Ward, tight end Harrison Bryant, and linebacker Malcolm Smith were the 3 players who tested positive, according to ESPN and multiple reports. Bryant was placed on the reserve COVID-19 list Tuesday. Smith and Ward were added to it Thursday. The Browns kept the facility closed Thursday afternoon after contact tracing. Their wide receivers have been cleared to practice. This is what Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach, had to say at his press conference.
I'm just really dealing with it day to day, hour by hour, in terms of what we have going on. So with the league, with our medical staff, and finding out what we can do. Opens up a lot of phone calls and a lot of Zoom calls. So we're getting our work done, and then we're just going to really lean heavily on the medical professionals and follow their guidelines, and that's what we've done to date.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio. Mark Hertzlick and Jason Fitz in for the guys. So, I mean, this is just part of the reality of 2020, Mark. But the Browns are now in a must-win situation to get themselves into the playoffs, and they're shorthanded doing it. So how much pressure in your mind is on the Browns this weekend, given everything going on, but also the fact that the season seems to be hanging in the
It's still hanging in the balance. I think that's the biggest pressure that the Browns have put themselves in. The fact that, look, we need to go in and win this last game when they had a perfect opportunity last week against the lowly Jets to do that. If they won that game, they'd be in, and now they're putting the pressure on the last week of the season to have to go out and beat a 10-plus win Steelers team. Now, it's been announced that Big Ben will not be playing in that game, which is going to be helpful, but still, it's a lot of pressure, and it's going to be a lot on and he's going to have a lot to prove and a lot of questions to answer if this win is not successful.
Look, everybody's going to talk last week, and that's part of why they lost. I get it, but every single NFL fan base has had this fear, and most, I would say, have had to deal with it at some point. Everybody knows I'm a Raiders fan. There have been games this year where I wasn't sure if my beloved Raiders were even going to have an offensive line. So we have to understand that this is just part of the reality. And Browns fans can look at all day, look at COVID, but they're going to look back at this schedule, and they're going to look back at missed opportunities that they had throughout the course of the season, and there's going to be some real to beat the Steelers team. It's going to be epic. Coming up, is it finally time to expand the college football playoff? We'll answer it next. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN.